They say kindness has a price, but that day at Kotoka International Airport, it nearly cost her everything. When travelers hurried through the glass halls, a young man stood alone, pleading for help that never came. His voice broke as he begged strangers to believe him. No one did. Everyone looked away. Everyone except one woman. Her name was Abena Grace. To her neighbors in Accra, she was the kind of woman who shared her last coin and still found a smile to give. But to Kofi Annan, a stranded footballer whose dreams were about to die before they even began, she became something else, a miracle in human form. That single act of kindness will change both their lives forever. Because when destiny wants to bless you, it doesn't come with drums and angels. It comes disguised as a stranger in need. In Accra, where the morning sun paints the city in gold and the aroma of roasted plantain drifts through the street, lived Abena Grace, a woman whose name carried a fragrance of kindness. Her neighbors said she had the kind of heart that could turn strangers into family. They said a good heart is like a river, it never runs dry, even when the sun burns hot. Abena was 25-year-old, an entrepreneur who ran a small thriving fashion and fabric business. Her boutique in East Legon was famous for its fine Kante-inspired modern dresses that blended traditions with elegance. Beyond business, she was known for something rarer: compassion that expected nothing in return. Her mornings began with greetings to her neighbor. "Hey, Sister Comfort, how's your morning doing?" she would ask as she swept the compound. When children from nearby compound came home hungry, she would feed them jollof or beans and fried plantain without hesitation. "When you feed a child, you feed the future," she always said. Abena lived alone, though her home was never empty. Family, friends and neighbors passed through daily, some to borrow sugar, some to borrow hope. Life had taught her that wealth is not measured by what sits in your account, but by how many people pray for you in the secret. One bright Wednesday morning, Abena was preparing for a business trip to Lagos, Nigeria, where she was to attend a Pan-African Women's Entrepreneurship Conference. She packed her documents, laptop and a bright orange dress, African unsewn fabric as she called it. As she stepped out, her mother called her on the phone. "Abena, my daughter, travel well. Remember that not everyone you meet is who they claim to be." She laughed softly. "I know, Mama, but you always taught me that kindness has no borders." Hmm, her mother sighed. "True, but remember, the same sun that warms you can also burn you." At Kotoka International Airport, the airport was alive with movement: families hugging, business travelers on call, children dragging toy-filled bags. Abena checked in. They went to buy a cup of pineapple juice. It was there, by the waiting lounge, that they first saw a young man, maybe in his late 20s, stood beside a metal pillar looking lost. His t-shirt was creased, his backpack half open. He looked around, desperate as people passed him. "Excuse me, please," he said to an older man in blue kaftan. "Can I borrow your phone? I was robbed. My wallet and my phone, they are all gone." The man frowned. "You people, every day, same story. Thieves pretending to be thieves. Go away." Abena watched. She had heard such stories before, but something in his voice, the tremor of sincerity, caught her attention. He turned to a lady beside her. "Madam, please, I'm not lying. My name is Kofi Annan. I'm a footballer. I just signed for a Dubai club and my documents were stolen here at the airport. I just need help to reach my agent." The woman eased and walked away. "Next time, tell your agent to help you. We all have our problems." Abena sipped her juice, studying him. His eyes carried exhaustion, but also something pure. She stepped forward. "Excuse me," she said gently. "You said you're a footballer." He nodded quickly, pulling out a crumpled photocopy of his passport and a printed contract from his backpack. She read it: "Dubai Falcons Football Club, a 3-year deal signed and stamped." She looked up at him. "And you were robbed here?" "Yes, my connecting flight leaves in 2 hours and I don't even have money to eat." Abena's mind turned. She had been taught caution, but also a kind heart doesn't ask for permission before helping. "Come," she said softly, "let's sit." They went to the airport restaurant. She ordered rice and stew for him, and while he ate like someone who hasn't tasted food in a day, she watched quietly. So, Kofi, she said after a while, you are going to Dubai? He nodded. Yes, it's my first international contract. I was so excited. I didn't even realize my bag had been tampered with. She murmured. Life tests us before it blesses us. When the bill came, she paid. When he realized she was also traveling, his eyes was filled with gratitude. Thank you, ma'am. Don't call me ma'am, she interrupted with a smile. I'm Abena, just Abena Grace. Abena, he said slowly, as though tasting her name. I don't know how to thank you. I will pay you once I reach Dubai. She waved her hand. No need. Just make sure you help someone else someday. But when they got to the airline counter, there was a problem. His flight ticket was flagged for incomplete verification since his documents were missing. The only option was to repurchase a ticket. Kofi's voice trembled. Oh God, please, I can't lose this opportunity, not again. Abena stood quietly for a moment, thinking. Then she stepped forward, handed her card to the attendant. Put it on this, she said. Kofi turned to her in belief. No, you can't. I can, she said firmly. Go and make Ghana proud. The attendant processed the payment. Kofi stood speechless, his eyes missing. You don't even know me. Abena smiled. Sometimes strangers carry our blessings. He whispered, May God bless you beyond your imagination. She smiled again. Just don't forget where you came from. They parted ways with a wave. He promised to contact her once he settled in Dubai. She watched him disappear beyond the boarding gate. His head held high again. As she boarded her own flight to Legon, she whispered a prayer. May his story not end in tears, Lord. 1 year later, life went on. Abena's business grew. She returned from Lagos with new partnerships, expanded her shop, and began mentoring young women. She organized weekend workshops, teaching tailoring to underprivileged girls. People often asked her why she gave so much, because she would say, a hand that gives never lack direction. Her neighbors still loved her. During the Homowo festival, she cooked for the entire compound. During Eid, she shared jollof with her Muslim neighbor. When her younger brother got sick, she spent sleepless nights at the hospital praying beside him. To everyone, Abena was light. But one evening, as she was closing her shop, her phone rang. A strange number. She almost ignored it, but something nudged her to answer. Hello, she said. Is this Abena Grace? Yes, who is this? There was a pause. Then a deep, familiar voice said, You once helped the lost footballer at the airport. Her heart skipped. Kofi! He laughed softly. Yes, Kofi Annan. For a moment, her eyes were filled with tears. Hey, Kofi, you disappeared into thin air. I didn't forget, he said. I've been trying to reach you. I finally found your number through an old friend in Accra. I'm back home. Her heart warmed. Welcome home, superstar. He chuckled and said, You won't even say, you won't believe and hear what I came for. What's that? To find a woman who believed in me when the world didn't. She laughed. Ah, look at this sweet talker. Oh. But he was serious. Abena, can I see you tomorrow? They met the next afternoon at a serene restaurant overlooking Labadi Beach, where he walked in, tall and confident in a crisp white shirt and jeans. She almost didn't recognize him. The shy young man she had helped had become a refined gentleman. He hugged her warmly. You look the same, maybe even kinder. She smiled, and you look successful. They sat talking for hours. He told her about Dubai, the luxury, the loneliness, the fame, but every time I scored a goal, he said, I remembered you because you believed when I didn't even believe in myself. Abena laughed lightly. All I did was buy you a ticket. No, he said softly. You restored my faith in humanity. That's bigger than money. Their laughter turned into comfort. They began to see each other often. He visited her shop, helped sponsor her women's training program, and introduced her to his mother in Kumasi. Abena's friends teased her and said, So the footballer has found his way to your heart, Abby? She smiled shyly. I didn't plan it, but sometimes when you plant kindness, love grows from the soil you never tilled. A year later, under the bright Ghanaian sun, the sounds of drums filled the air in Aburi gardens. Family and friends gathered for a wedding that seemed like a story told by destiny itself. Abena, radiant in her kente laced with gold, walked down the aisle, her smile brighter than the morning sun. Kofi, in a tailored agbada with a subtle gold embroidery, watched her with tears in his eyes. When the pastor asked if he would take her as his wife, Kofi's voice was steady. I will. I already did the day she believed in me. There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. After the vows, during the reception, Kofi took the microphone and said, A year ago, I was stranded at Kotoka International Airport. No one believed my story, but this woman. He turned to Abuna, saw something in me, and I couldn't see in myself. I was broke, hungry, and forgotten. She gave me food, hope, and a flight to my destiny. Today, I not only return with gratitude, but with love. The crowd clapped, some wiping tears. Abena stood beside him, her eyes glistening. When it was her turn to speak, she said, In life, we don't always know who we are helping. Sometimes, the stranger you feed today will build the bridge you will need tomorrow. Be kind, not because you expect something, but because kindness is its own reward. Married life suited them. Kofi continued his football career abroad, while Abena expanded her fashion line into a foundation that sponsored young tailors across Ghana. Together, they became a symbol of hope and generosity. When neighbors quarreled, Abena was the peacemaker. Peace, she would say, is cheaper than pride. When young girls asked how she found such a good man, she would laugh. I didn't find him at a party, I found him at an airport with nothing but faith. Every year on the anniversary of their meeting, they visited Kotoka International Airport, the same terminal where faith crossed their path. They would sit quietly on one of the benches, holding hands, watching people rush by. One time, a young woman approached them crying, Please, my bag is missing, and my flight leaves soon. I don't know what to do. Kofi and Abina looked at each other and smiled. Without hesitation, Abina stood up and said, Come, my dear, let's sit and talk. That day, Kofi whispered to her, You're still the same woman I met. And she replied, You're still the man I believed in. The moral of this story is that the elders often said, The good you do follows you like a shadow, even when night falls. Avena's story reminds us that kindness never dies, it only changes form. She didn't help Kofi expecting love. She helped him because that was who she was. Her compassion, like the Ghanaian sun, shone on everyone, neighbors, strangers, and friends alike. And when her blessing came, they came multiplied. Even years later, people in her community would tell her story. Mothers told their children, be like Abena Grace, kind, wise, and humble. And when Kofi's career reached a global fame, he would always say in interviews, My success began the day a Ghanaian woman believed in me when no one else believed. And so, their love wasn't just romance, it was a testimony, a reminder that sometimes destiny wears the face of a stranger, and that one act of compassion can rewrite two lives together forever. Thank you guys if you stayed to the end. For more amazing stories, please like and subscribe and share. Bye. Till I come again next week with another amazing and wonderful story. I love you guys. Bye.